race is someone living happy and all their family doing well. So race talk is really not for people in the ghetto catching hell. Now tell the racists, sufferers don't care about color. Sufferers don't care about race. Sufferers don't care who migrate from where or who living in who place. Sufferers don't care who from country. Sufferers don't care who from town. Sufferers only want to hear where their food coming from. Get up early next morning, go down in the 10 days yard. You see so much different race, so much different people line up with the ID card. Or visit my village called Talfaro, where they get no water for years. So much different race, so much different color, with a bucket sit down shedding tears. Now tell the racists, sufferers don't care about color. Sufferers don't care about race. Sufferers don't care who migrate from where or who living in who place. Sufferers don't care who from country. Sufferers don't care who from town. Sufferers only want to hear what where their food coming from. Visit the General Hospital, and I know that you would be shocked to see so much different race of people line up waiting on one dock, or pay a visit to the AIDS ward where they find no cure as yet. People don't know the race, yeah, remember the color. All they know is that they're facing death. Now tell the racists, sufferers don't care about what? Sufferers don't care about race. Sufferers don't care who migrate from where or who living in who place. What? Sufferers don't care who from country. What? Sufferers don't care who from town. Sufferers only want to hear where their food coming from.
Yes, indeed, of course, presented by all at Sunday. Yes, it is, of course, the Current Transformation Sunday edition of the time, and yes, of course, we are here. I just waiting to hear my voice to be sure that in something like anything other than who we ought to sound like. So that you see, it is, I'm in it, that is bad.
But poor people, we have nothing. Don't know where the next meal coming from. So I want you to go and to tell all them races.
All right, let's test it now. I think that should be rectified. Let's see what's happening. Yeah, it's a good thing to have my internal monitoring. Don't let you catch me at all. Let me hear. Come on, boys. I hear it in the studio to make certain that we are sounding like human beings and not, of course, some kind of android. Right, beautiful. Now that we have it. Yes, I wanted to hear it, of course, as well, if you could hear it through the mic. Right, good. Now we can proceed as normal. This is a good to have this monitoring system in studio. I had to do it because I fed up with the embarrassment. So, welcome, of course, to the Corridor Transformation Sunday edition. Of course, we have a bump program for you as usual, Dr. Khaled and I. And let's hear about suffering, because that is what it is all about. And of course, we have seen, in fact, our recent experiences has been deterioration in the poor man's circumstance and condition, and the creation or the manufacturing of more of the poor class in this country, and therefore, since more people have been added to it, we must have a deep concern. Yes, indeed. Yes, let's hear Stalin on sufferance. Sufferance, okay, we come down. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm seeing something that I wouldn't like at all to happen this morning, and that is, of course, that blurry situation that I have studiously attempted to avoid. Let's hope that it is just a sign and not, of course, actual mechanism or impediment to what is happening this morning. But that being as it may, of course, the show has to go on. My apology about last night. We truncated last night's program simply because we cut it short, simply because, of course, there was some kind of technical issue. I had, of course, a technical person in earlier to avoid those very issues, but you know, sometimes technology, as it is, when you expect that things are perfect, then it disappoints. Of course, we call it Murphy's Law. When something has to go wrong, it will at the worst possible time. I've seen a bit of lag as well in the video as well, so that is something we'll have to work on as well, so that we do not have some of the issues that we thought would have been behind us coming to bear and coming to the fore, and of course humbugging, for want of a better term, the quality of our delivery. That being as it may, we have to continue, of course, and we have to do what we have to do. So let me say one time, because we are a bit tardy this morning, so let me go straight to Dr. Khaled. Pleasant good morning to you, Dr. Khaled. How has been your weekend so far? And of course, I know that you have some issues that you want to raise this morning as far as crime and criminality is concerned. All kinds of things are happening. Dr. Rowley is abroad still. He's now in India. We'll have some things to say about that as well, because the question of poaching, not only has he demonstrated his uncanny behavior to poach UNC officials in the local government elections, but it appears that he has gone quite India in order to do the same. Whilst, of course, telling the sycophants and the apologists that they listen, don't associate with the Indians. Any Indian really belonging, especially to the UNC, corrupt and they are profligate. But of course, what we have seen over the last 9 years of the Rowley administration is that he was speaking to others that which is in him and his party and his government. But that will be further elaborated upon tonight, because this program is about looking for solutions. That being as it may, pleasant good morning to you, Dr. Khaled. How has it been so far? And you could go right into the meat of what you want to discuss this morning.
Very, very good, so far.
Yeah, speak a little louder because we have...
Yeah, very good. Weekend have been good. Monday, we had a very successful program at my center.
Yes.
You were there.
Yes.
So right now, the focus is coming up with programs to save the youths, because I have crime that's going away. And the only way crime will go away is if you have people who responsible and coming up with programs. So yes, solve the crime, also which include coming up with economic program for the young people.
Yes, indeed.
Coming
Yes.
up with program involved in things like that. Because that is the problem right now.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And of course, we have, of course, Kamala Prasad Bissessa and the UNC anti-crime meeting was held in movement on the last occasion. I think it's the 50th edition.
Yeah.
And she was splendid. I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but of course I have reality is reality. She did, of course, text me the same night and said that, of course, my presentation was brilliant, and I accepted that as a honest assessment by someone who has demonstrated an ability to be honest. If it was maybe depending on that individual, a member of the PNM administration, I would say that the mama gain me, right? But of course, in this particular case, I have no qualms with, of course, the assessment of the honorable leader of the opposition, Kamala Prasad Bissessa. And beyond that, of course, there are others who, of course, have of course, expressed similar sentiments. So, so in all honesty and in all assessment, one can say that that was should I say, a sincere one, and two, a realistic assessment. But enough about me. This is about, of course, the solutions and so on. So tell me what it took to have that program there, because I noticed very modest in your presentation when you called upon to start off with the, should I say, the public
program.
response
Yes.
one. And I noticed, of course, beyond all of the vehicles that were there, the people that were there, mainly, of course, local from the community,
Yeah.
make and have made their contribution. But I noticed very significantly that it had an economic component. People with their little vehicles and and a van and so on, and here it is, these hawkers and so on, would not lose an opportunity to, of course, try to make a dollar where large numbers of persons are gathered. And that is the objective analysis. If anybody, in fact, the PNM propaganda machinery has not said it was a large number of persons. I suppose that is unique. Normally, they would say, of course, 2 or 3 persons, they're busting people, etc. That kind of talk. I've heard Dr. Rowley himself, of course, talking in that vein. But the fact of the matter is that when, of course, have hawkers and the persons who have a little tray and selling, of course, let's say sweets and confectionaries, in other words, and of course pastries, etc., and other delicacies, and of course burgers and hot dog and so on. You know that they are not stupid. They are not going to come out there and spend all that money, invest all that money, and don't expect a windfall. Right, and therefore, in those circumstances, I want to commend you for making that place available strategically. But of course, having all these people, and at the same time, having those who are the struggling working class and make a dollar from a private perspective. Dr. Khalid.
Yes, Lennox. Thank you. But what it is that the alderman for that area, a young man, I know his family, Kareem Beard, he's around us. He approach us, and they will a place in the Laventel Mova area. Is that they believe was safe, have a history of being safe, because you know a lot of people want to say about Laventel Mova. They don't want to come.
Yes. That itself is additional. In fact, whilst I was there were some people that were saying they are from the Betham, and a lot of young persons would have liked to come, but because of the borderline issue, they prefer to stay at home and not to take the risk of life and limb. But go ahead, yes.
Right. And because, like I say, the first thing that comes to your mind is until not safe. But we have a history of being safe there because you know what we had to stand up against to make it safe.
Yes.
You know? So we have a history. So anyhow, they want to come. We allow them, yes, use the thing. Of course, like everybody else who use the premises, they made a contribution.
They made a contribution.
Yes,
okay.
they didn't use the center for free.
Right.
Those who want to criticize, like, make it clear one time.
Yes.
Like everybody else, they paid their way.
Yeah. So the village council cannot be embroiled, even though you are a live wire in that community, and even though, of course, you are vice chairman at this time and a former chairman of the village council
For 10 years.
for 10 years. It has nothing to do, of course, with politics, but of course, an opportunity for the coffers of the village council to be augmented with the presence of the anti-crime, the fifth anti-crime meeting
Right.
of the UNC, and the presence of the opposition leader, guided by her, of course, that whole exercise.
Right, because what happened is, how you gonna solve the crime part if the two major political parties in this country don't take the bull by the horn?
Yes.
You have to have crime talks.
Right.
And you have to stop politicking with it.
Right.
Some people want to politic with it. You have to go in the areas where the crimes are being committed, through the Swiss Corridor and other places, and talk to the young people.
Right.
Find is a problem. And both parties have to have that approach. But if they want to play political games and blame each other,
Right.
don't get anywhere.
Right.
To me, this program was very, very, very good because she talked about things that make sense.
Right.
The response that she got was very good
Right.
because, just as I said, local people who live in the area, and they talk.
Right.
They talk. I have a couple of young people from the council who teach in different areas, and they talk and say things that they need to assist them and that kind of thing.
Right.
And the response was very nice.
Between, yeah, well, it was fantastic. But I think we have a caller already on the line. Let's go straight, of course, to that call. President, good morning. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. It is, of course, the Sunday edition of the Corridor Transformation. Good morning.
Okay, all right, thank you. Morning, Mr. Lennox Smith.
Good morning.
And Dr. Khalid.
Morning.
Dr. Khalid, I was in Port of Spain, and I find that the turnout was very, very common. I mean, the crowd was reasonable, and everybody was doing their part by congratulating on everyone who spoke. You could sense the tense. I don't think it this morning, but
Yes. I heard that. Yes, I read that. Yes, this morning. Yes. So go ahead. Yes.
Right. A lot of few clips that I was looking at yesterday, day before yesterday, where the guys had, just jumping over people's walls, going into people's premises, pick up a family, or I think 3, and it's in the peaceful solution. education program that I sent you.
Oh yes. He is, in fact, he has a copy of it in his position now. Both of us are looking at it. So in due course, we will be, of course, doing what we have to do, and we will be making formal announcements. But right now, to tell you the truth, we are looking at the physical upgrading of the facility. It is not conducive to education, right? It's hot. There is repairs that is needed to the plumbing as well as the electricity, the ceiling and so on. Makes it very hot. It's one of them old time roofs. So I'm just giving you idea as to the challenge that we have. Of course, we have to pay, we have to develop classrooms, etc. But the good news is that the regiment, the Trinidad and Tobago Army was here, the engineering corps, the civil engineering corps, and they made certain assessment. We are now in the process. In fact, we should finish today of doing a floor plan, because it's on an upper floor, and they too are raring and willing to make their contribution to the renovation of the building to make it hospitable for training. So why is that is happening? Of course, our job as educators and as a project and the program creators and administrators is to, of course, look at programs such as yours that you submitted, and see how we can, of course, incorporate it in the rollout that is expected subsequently. Yes, we have, for example, a large air conditioned unit, but of course, we don't have the electricity to push it. And right now, as we speak, so we have to use a fan for the time being and so on. So you would appreciate that that will consume some time, but comparatively speaking, and having regard to the length of time that the people have been waiting for programs like these, then of course I consider it to be a short sacrifice for a very long-term sustainable, let's say, remedy to, of course, the socio-economic and psycho-cultural issues that we have confronting us, and that we have to resolve as educators and as altruists and philanthropists. And of course, your contribution as well is appreciated in that regard.
All right. So if at anytime soon, right? What I'm saying is that this program is a non-governmental organization program, right?
Yes.
There is no input from the government or any.
We are seeking inputs from all sources, so it includes the government. This is cost effective, as you would know, and Dr. Khalid will also know that these programs are more efficacious than that of government-supported program. And I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but that is the reality. Whether it be hype, whether it be Yappa, whether it be Napa, no, not Napa, sorry, whether it be MyLap, MyTap, or YTEP, as the case may be, which is government focused, government sponsored, government initiated. But when you have a program that is community based, my experience have shown that it is much more efficacious. It's something like the Concordat and that of the church versus state schools, and we see that the church-based schools are academically much more proficient. We know that the teachers are much more committed. We know, I mean, I'm not casting any explosion on teachers in general, but that is a reality, and we need to treat with that. Of course, as far as discipline is concerned, the church-based schools are much more, of course, ahead of that, comparatively speaking, of the government schools. So I am putting, of course, what we are doing on a community basis, similar to that of what the churches are doing in the general education system. Go ahead, Dr. Khalid.
Yes, my brother. Thank you very much. As Lennox said. What?
Yes, go ahead. Dr. Khalid wants to make an input.
Yes. As Lennox said, we are looking at the program that you present, and from what he said, I'm sure it's a good one, but I want you to know programs like these, you need to have people. And like, for example, like us, where we are in Bombay, we have people who volunteer their time to teach math, to teach music, because we teach music, reading, writing music, playing music, teaching kids to play different instruments. We have a English program, we have a SEA program, we have a program where young people can do their O levels. We haven't started A's yet, and we are looking at some trade and things. And all these people who we have with us, they are people, even though they are qualified teachers, but they volunteer their time and they are committed to the program just as we are committed. So in that sense, you need to have a cadre of committed people who would make it happen.
So I don't know if that satisfies some of your concerns. Go ahead.
Yes. Finally, what I would like to say is that it would reach the point where now this program consists of foreign teachers, people who are very versed in this program, that could be invited to Trinidad because they came already 4 years ago. You understand?
Yes.
Who are very versed in this program at no cost to you. They paying their own airfare.
Great.
And they come to Trinidad and they set up. All you have to do is to provide the venue, right? Because it was done before, not a fly-by-night program. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So
I take it up, and I've observed that from my cursory observation and reading of it. But as you rightly say, we have to have accommodation. But of course, so therefore, I was right on button to say that the accommodation focus at this point is crucial to, of course, inviting persons of that caliber and that commitment, abroad or local, to give of their expertise in addressing some of the issues, the social and economic issues in these areas. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yes, because this program is being subtitled in Spanish, it's been in cool, all these different countries, even in
yes,
it's a right? But what I would like to ask from me, I'm San Fernando. From the program, the crime was mentioned that he is voting and those things. Meet him on a one-on-one when he has time. So you are doing the job because the youths really need attention. They need a lot of attention. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's a true patriot, Dr. Khalid, and he's raring to work. I mean, he's working because he has submitted a very comprehensive, but as you said, foreign base. And while I did not glean as now that he has stated, and the focus of foreign volunteers, I think we should quickly as possible program in benefit from that. And of course, we are now developing on George Street. So, caller, we will be in touch, and of course, us as you may wish to by being part of what we can. That of course is looking at the means of, and as immediate as possible and as effective as possible to the multiple issues and being realized on a daily basis and iterating in these parts that we really have to move quickly. Dr. Khalid.
Yes. I like to focus on the meeting for a minute or two.
Okay, go ahead.
Because that meeting, the important, I congratulate and particularly the leader.
Right.
Because that idea of went to the East-West corridor,
right,
where it is alleged that it's more than being alleged that crime, you have a crime problem within the East-West corridor.
Yes, it's festering to yes.
And you have to come up with people who are willing enough to do this to solve the crime problem.
Right.
Because I can remember having one of our classes a day.
Right.
And this young man came to me and said, some one of these little guys there were accustomed talking to, miserable. Well, a couple of them not with us no more now. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, of course.
Right.
In other words, people, they have been killed, a victim of their own activities.
Of their own activities.
Yeah, of their own activities. That's social, of course.
Right. Came and therefore, we had a whole set of policemen on the compound because they want to do the teaching.
Right.
And soldiers and things. By the time we come back at the young man, he was too slow. So we were able to get him. And we spoke to the young man. Right. And since after we step up on our program, with security and things like that.
Yeah, those are unnecessaries, but it's necessary.
But when you did investigate, because as you know, I'm always talking and trying to get my community, the Manipur area, the Chinapur area, in fact, Mova area too.
Yeah.
And when you check it out, you have a serious problem, broken up homes, you know.
Yeah.
The kind of guidance some of us might have had when we were growing up, they grew up in a family that is messed up.
Yes.
Some of them mother alone, some of them father alone.
They have to be, yeah, because they have to contribute to bread and butter issue, yeah.
So by the time they come home, they do all kind of things.
Yes,
They can't do their homework, they have nobody guiding them. So these are things. So back to the crime talk, it was important for the person who could possibly be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Give a hearing.
Yes.
That is what leaders have to do. Politicians have to understand that. It's not about scoring each other. It's about finding out the root of the problems, coming up with solutions, and focusing on the people who giving the most trouble, who rebelling the most, the young men and women.
Yeah, but isn't it fair to say as well that if you don't do what you observed there and shared with the national community, that any element, individuals or group that has a contrary to one and two, their conduct is one that says, this is what we can do, leave the status quo as it is. By the so incisively, so intrusive, if you want to call it that, in order to solve this, I would have gotten control of the country and the result. Isn't that part of the solution?
This is why I mentioned over and over. Caring, you see, you need to move away from the thing where this is a stronghold. And regardless of what I support you. Because I don't let this area, but I have them under control. I will work with my friends and things and give them whatever they could get. So I would have support. They need to concentrate on the people who give problems. You need to train
that
them.
Niche. You need to identify that niche and become part and parcel of the normal as opposed to the unique. You need to that's what is training. Yeah.
People who live in secondary school.
Yes.
And a lot of them, you see, I spoke to some people about 2 weeks ago. And they were kind of baffled because they were talking about most of the young committing crime, secondary education. So I laugh. They were for them.
Yes.
I said, well, forgive me for laughing, but you guys couldn't be further away from the truth.
Right.
I said, my experience had taught me most of these young men that we are dealing with, I said, I'll be more personal, that I am dealing with a very good education. Some of them have, you surprised, it have one who given so much trouble. He did his O-levels last year. He did 9 and he got 8.
Yes. Well, I have had that experience as well. So if we can eliminate that it is a fallacy that is fallacious, and I want to go even maybe broader or deeper into what you have just said, because I agree with you. I want to say that one time, because I have always said as an educator myself that so long as you are exposed to whatever level of education, it cannot be that you will come out a dumbbell. You must have something. And the exposure itself, the mere regularity with the material, even though you might have been in it, but you're much more educated than if, of course, you went to this case.
100.
Okay, right. Let's go straight to the line, and of course, people you can call us 1-337-40. A pleasant good morning. Welcome, of course, the morning edition of the Sunday morning edition of Information.
Good morning, Doctor. How are you going to? Okay, thank you very much. I use this some billionaire man in charge of the to come and be like me here. Lad for that. Why want to know the Brian Lara Cricket Academy doing it? Why you taking behind this red herring? Always when you like to have this. Why you taking and give to the African Emancipation Support Committee and give them the land so that they can have instead of building another cricket academy? And he's saying what? That going to West Indies cricket? You know, we have up there in Brian Lara. Finished that, it didn't complete. When Mr. Malin there, there would be a training ground. And also that, they spend over $1 billion on the places that workers say it's a sham. That place, the amount of money they spend for, all that, they can have it 4 stadium with that. 5. Because the one in Guyana only costs 25, less than 25% of what they spend it. Right? And they have a better stadium than we here, with more seating capacity and everything. So Dr. Rowley can evangel over in waiting and making us the country. You understand?
Yes.
I see a whole face after these fellas come and kidnap a woman, fraud and disappear, and I want to know what's going on in this place. Yes, well, I want to know if we so many conditions. Because economy, they only why is it that we don't do anything like that? Yeah? What kind of back in times police technology and investigation they have in this place? But everything that's happening here and it's been like I was happening and more coming yesterday, over 5 people there between Friday. I know more than by the That's the Herald. That's the Herald, the accomplishment of Christopher, the criminal rampage right now. They celebrated the ineptitude of she and she lined with herself with her lives to consummate failure, Lennox.
Yes, indeed.
Failures on the public.
I mean, the population will agree. They are yet to be able to explain logically and reasonably, and should I say, to give the as to why they reinstated her. But of course, there are all kinds of stories surrounding it. But I want to ask you a question, to put a sort of jocular spin to the entire exercise in India. Dr. Rowley was given the opportunity to, of course, hand the coin, the toss coin, to for the purposes of toss. And I have not seen the game, but all over social media, they're saying that as he coin, there was a poor performance by a team that was supposed to be expected to perform well. Have you made the connection? Have you seen it? Have you been exposed to that? Because it's a bit right yet to some performance in Trinidad.
That is true. That is what the owner of Mumbai Indians, right? And Mumbai Indians was the Lennox. So more failure continues there.
Oh Lord, to some extent from the political level and the curriculum of Occident, I could imagine what will happen with respect to the IPL that was scheduled to be played, I think, shared between the West Indies and I think the United States.
Yeah, the United States. That is the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, the T20 World Cup. Yes. Oh, the T20 World Cup. Yeah. Not the IPL.
Everything was in it. But you try to the US cricket board. Like he didn't chat with a committee to what's going on there. And after now, I don't know really going on right now. That's why Mr.
Thank you very much. Frustrated in the process, Dr. Khalid.
Yeah, but
yeah, go ahead.
You see, the thing is, sorry.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is, Lennox, this is not time for frustration.
Yeah.
And we all get a little frustrated at that time, but we need to stay focused.
Yes, okay.
I'm saying, and I keep on talking to politicians who are not supporting the PNM.
Right.
Opposition politicians.
Right.
Because as far as I'm concerned, you have two categories of opposition. Opposition politicians are members of the UNC.
Right.
And then you have opposition politicians who are not members of the UNC and not members of the PNM.
Right.
But if they have a choice, they will support the UNC.
Right.
To save this country.
This country.
So
well,
strengthen the opposition chances. The opposition politicians who are not members of the PNM.
Right.
And who would support the UNC coming together and boosting that support.
Right.
And this is what needs to happen. If people decide to work, heed my advice, work together, it have no way that the PNM could win. We can't afford to take the chances for them to go back there.
Right.
So it's not about getting frustrated. It's not about getting angry. It's about being focused, reach out, talking to people who share the same ideals and who have the same idea of removing these people, but you have to work together.
And of course, the common thread, the golden thread, in fact, is that the Rowley administration clearly, pellucidly and conspicuously part of the problem, and therefore part of the solution to Trinidad and Tobago's problem is, of course, to eliminate that element. Is that a good as?
Therefore, they cannot be a part of the solution. The problem.
Yeah, and the
they look at things. There are members of the PNM who have good intentions. You know who I'm talking about. They can't help because they don't have support.
Yeah.
So when you at the things, and the one who's the acting prime minister now, Stuart Young and all these PNM, they are the guys who are responsible for the last 9 years running the show.
What to be good affairs, yes.
They continue to mess up.
All right.
So what we have to do is people have to work together and save Trinidad and Tobago. Okay. For example, I used to be laughing when Rowley Hines said, well, he set up in my area, that that was responsible for a bog stream government. Remember that?
Yes, I remember that very distinctly.
Now, let us
it was used in a pejorative sense, you know, a criticizing sense. Yeah.
Yes, bog stream government. They said it degraded.
Yes.
And trying to humiliate.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, a lot of these young men for the first time, I know a lot of them, were able to contrast to fix the area.
Right.
Because those of us who in my area know that most of the major work you see there, self-help. You know that from work.
After years, you still have, particularly in urban areas, to have industrial deficit. Speaks volumes as to the priority of the PNM having been in office for the last.
Yes, from 56.
Yes.
Most of the work that is being done there is through self-help and getting equipment from Ministry of Works and bringing in engineers like my friend who died, Romuald Barrow, and these guys to assist.
But you to me, it shows that there's a certain amount of creativity from within the community, because they know that these things to be remedied. So you have in the process, by that level of concern and willingness to improve physically, you have some creative leaders that emerge. Go ahead.
That is point I'm making.
Good.
Example, I remember around 1990, beautiful little cousins. When we fall, from side to side living.
Right.
And while my big sister was skipping from stone to stone, a wall came up. My friend, Chowman, a wall came up.
Okay.
And almost sever her sister Avi foot.
Okay.
And that put a pain in my heart,
Right.
I was also working in remember my sister, they brought up Hugh Francis and John D. John D was the guy there, the MP at the time.
Okay. Minister at the time. Okay.
You remember that?
Yes, I remember him distinctly.
So when they came, Francis turned around and was saying, down here, it's red. No, I was the auditor. Of course, worked my first. You know what we did? You know what we did? We were to divert a river into a road. Transfer the road and put the river, so you could cut the river, create your road, and you have your thing. So my knowledge, now I know studying there.
So you're key.
Yeah. but looking at the thing, what he said didn't even make no sense.
Right.
You can't
from your early and nascent, of course, exposure to that kind of civil engineering. Yeah.
For my first semester, we were being taught how to create, and you can't. So you come there as a minister of works, and you're talking that kind of nothing.
All of the expertise in Switzerland.
So right. So
all of these ministers, no.
So so what happened? I have sisters. They were with me for opposing them.
Yeah.
Because I make him say, you guys ain't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And my business.
You're too upset. How could you? Because he's a minister. Has to do with the issue.
One was behind me. One of my sisters hit me a lash in my head. I just laugh at you and say, I love you like crazy. I can't help it. My cousin just get killed. I wrote it there. That's all I have to say this. And we got the opportunity.
Yes.
And I came in. Somebody where the place and we created the organization.
Right.
You understand? And we solved that problem. So what I was saying, you have talent in the communities. You have people who are visionaries.
That's right.
And they can solve it.
Yeah.
But what it is, you all from everybody to make it happen.
So the deepest pockets is either private sector.
Yes.
And the most people, the resources, all of us contribute to, so we can stake and lay claim, and they're the ones that are supposed to generate the motivation, the facilitation, in order to improve people's quality of life.
But whatever resources they have at their disposal.
But they should take the initiative. Because, yes.
And then all of us,
so that is how that resource is available for them to manage for the limited and elected in government to do.
So it's not just now with Stalin.
Stalin, yes.
Sufferers already kind of thing. When you're suffering, you don't know where the next meal coming from. You don't get money by friend.
Yes.
You're worrying if people will invade like that.
Yes.
You're not really looking at race, looking at solution to the problems. And that is what happened in there.
Yeah. But I'm glad that we are going there, because it brings to the point of prioritization, and of course ability of figures if prioritized badly. Meaning that you produce white elephants, etc. And I'm saying so going back to the last position on the Brian Lara stadium, where of course an academy, which of course $1 billion was spent. Is it that everybody like we could come another academy rather than Brian Lara Academy, the premier maybe institute in the Caribbean, and more likely and most likely, but I'm saying that for a specific reason. Because that we have games also be played here in the World Cup, the to be played. And I have always been asking what has happened to the Queen's Park Hall, and I have no doubt in my mind that decision, because the government's coffers is deep, that they have put out a pretty penny to have game done at Brian Lara, the ambience and the tradition and the history of the oval ought to be placed for it to be, but because the government owns the Brian Lara, the shift, of course, focus there, and itself tells me that in public, if not to make it look like Brian Lara is better than the Queen's Park. Well, these are issues. Go ahead.
Where Brian Lara is situated.
It's in San Fernando.
Okay.
You would be more specific.
To Aruba, right?
Yeah, just off San Fernando.
You have a whole set of yes. So these fellow impacts
Yeah, but we're seeing another premier avenue that the Grand Line would not even reach fast to surpass. Why would I spend money in Queens Oval opposed to that facility that is a half picked up?
Lennox.
Go ahead.
Listen, your brother. People in Queens, in the Oval there. So what you see about coming?
You know, yeah, go ahead.
People who live on this area here, if I election on today, right, you will vote.
PNM.
If you don't have a team to dive,
Election is function and statistical, they will vote in
so
because it's for Spain environment.
So if our election is in just about 13 months away.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So if we are months away for a general election, not a local, crucial election. What political strategy? Can't tell me the PNM do a political strategy. Who would advise them?
Up there, in spite of the loss of maybe significance and iconism and so on.
Listen, it's politics.
I hear you.
Yes.
In spite of, you know, there is that loss, but sacrifice that because the surrounding community most likely would gravitate to the UNC.
No way.
Up at Tuba.
I want you see where I'm coming
Yeah.
from.
I got it. I tried to be devil's advocate at the same time.
They play in politics.
At our expense. And are the best thing for the cricket fraternity.
Nobody's the best them.
For them, right?
They
our expense.
don't care about
They don't care about
so
our
I don't
expense.
need to go there, you and I.
Yeah.
They show that they
Right, good.
for tax, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they would keep it, will put it there.
Right.
Hoping that they can pay cheap.
Politics, right? And people consequence and
So this
get
is
back
what-
into office. Hope
right.
that they hope it.
Because hoping that a lot of them would make in fighting and that. But they, to me, they will burst on the average.
Yes.
But
they will spend not their money, our money unproductively,
right,
in order to achieve a political end.
Political end.
Hopefully for them, yeah.
Yes. And that basically
okay. And I accept because there would be no other right. You see, I am saying so because it while of course is specifically not as poignant as between the Oval, but the moving of the from to Nelson Street demonstrates if not a devious kind of abuse of our $14 million on Nelson Street, that when tourists go around the savannah, take a look at your vanity projects, whether it be the of Queen's Village, Mayflower, of course, the Storm Castle, the present you turn, go in, tourists will come and visit Desperados. At the same time, you are aware that not only is that a killing, but also aware that the from whose countries the tourists will come, United States, Canada, Germany, United Kingdom, this government, and their tourists, potential tourists, do not come to Trinidad. But if you do not on Nelson Street. It's a comparison with that the political benefits for the government that we got.
And when you look at the Desperados, is a ship had to run from on the hill.
That's right. That itself is an indictment.
History
yes.
Right. They can't say crime. And you take them there, but not
the various nuances that suggest that for that the ban. In fact, the tourist that was robbed, the couple that was on the street, and Charlotte streets. Of course, I've not confirmed, but on the street itself, what might have happened to them? They might have lost their lives. It's a good thing that they would.
So the thing is, the focus now, to me, is a political. You have to focus.
So what would you say the people now having our education and of course identifying what the true objective? What would you say that make the decision, especially our young people, 18 years of age? What would they to them? Before next year, 25.
Just 13 months away, Lex. 13 months away. We May, right?
Right. Yeah.
13 months away.
What
Well, I will tell them.
Working
look at the two parties. Look at the kind of that was done by UNC and Kamla the laptop program, the same box drain that they'll want to laugh at. For the first time, these young men were getting contracts. And not busy giving away contracts to their friends.
That's so tonight.
No. Yes. So I'm saying they're busy giving out contracts to their friends.
Right.
But here you have a government that was in office up to 2015 that were giving contract to young men and some women who never had the opportunity and they were doing well.
Yes.
That's a vibe. Government cannot employ everybody.
That's right.
You have to teach people how to create jobs.
That's right.
You have to teach them how to, when you create jobs, how to spend your money, how to do your books. You're training them to be future businessmen and women. That's my thing to young people. You got best interest.
Right. And your common sense will lead you.
Your common sense
will lead you to your best.
You have to stop being emotional. And mommy and daddy used to vote so. No. And because mommy and daddy voted this way, granny and great grandpa, you're gonna know that ain't making no sense.
That's right. Work in your best interest.
You're smarter.
Vote in your best interest. Full stop.
You're smarter than that.
Yeah.
And as I've said earlier on, I've experienced with a lot of young men and women in these areas who are able to get a good secondary education and they are not illiterate. So you're smart. Yes. So make good assessment, work in your best interest, and look at the situation ahead of us.
Yes, indeed. Well, let us go about time. Let's hear some of the offerings, I should say, or the presentation of Kamala Persesa at that anti-crime meeting held at the Monsieur Community.
It's part of TNT. One of my officers in the car driving at me, they said there's a pop-in. I said, why? That only happens sometimes when you're on an airplane and you're high up in the air. She said, well, we're high up in the hills. It's a popping tonight. I say again, I'm very, very honored to join with you for this, which is our 5th installment of our position on the National Anti-Crime Consultations. You may remember we began in January 2024, this year, in a committed effort to get feedback from citizens on the unprecedented crime and violence wave that is sweeping across Orlando. You see, I have
welcome to the podium, our beloved leader,
there have been many,
Mrs.
and
Kamala
I don't intend to retire
Persad
anytime soon. With the
Persesa,
help of the Lord,
to the podium
with the help
of
the Lord
Mobile
and the strength of the Lord.
Please stand.
Thank you all very much. I don't intend to retire anytime soon. With the Lord, with the help of the Lord and the strength of the Lord, I don't intend to retire. I saw some MP begging for people to join him in retirement, like he wants company in retirement. I have no intention. I keep the strength and the grace of God with me every day. Thank you so much. So I've always lived all these years in my service to my country and to the people of our country. I've always said we must listen first. You know, we have to. So we must listen. Many times we don't listen. We are tone deaf. And that is one of the reasons I'm here. We are here. We want to listen. Because we have always been a voice for the voiceless. We have been the people's voice in what my ultimate guide remains. We first listened to people, where was it, in Chaguan. I think. We listened in San Grande. We heard the voices of the people of San Fernando and St. Joseph. and we value every single contribution that people have made to us and pointing out solutions and recommendations for us. So the UNC is leading the charge to make the playgrounds safe for children. The UNC is leading this charge to make public spaces safe for citizens. All this is about is for all citizens, to make our society a safer one for every single person. That is the charge that we are leading, that we can feel safe in our homes again. That when we send our children to school, they must be safe in those schools. Look at where we've come. The crime rate now is the worst it has ever been in decades and decades upon decades. The worst ever. That no one is safe anywhere in any part of TNT, not in a single place. So when they want to tell me about hotspots, yes, there are hotspots and there are hotter spots, but all of our land is now a hotspot. Trinidad and Tobago, you agree with me? Yes. Nowhere are you safe. Nowhere. And the TTPS is doing the best they can in all the circumstances. Let's give it up to all the good men and women in our police service. And I didn't come here to complain too much because I came here to listen. So I'll just speak for a few more minutes and then we'll hand over the mics to you. But before I came here, we are sitting in the parliament and I got a piece of news. And that news doesn't give me any assurance that within the next year things will get any better with the crime in Trinidad. Do you know what that news was? The government has now extended the contract of the present Commissioner of Police. Now, I have no pain or no trouble with that Commissioner of Police. In fact, we voted for her when the matter came to Parliament last time. We voted, said, give her a chance. Well, we've given her a chance. But with a heavy heart, I report this tonight because I'm even more worried what will be happening course of this year with what's happening there. So we have to give the police their due, and we pray to God that Erla will be able to lead them in this year. But I tell you, my heart is very heavy in hearing this. So, as I say, as a responsible party, we are preparing for government. We are doing what is necessary. So, with that said, we welcome you to our 5th UNC Crime Talks. Are you happy that we can talk together? You may ask me why I chose up here. And Kevin, who works in my office, Kevin is walking about somewhere. He's a member of staff, that big guy down there. Kevin works in my office. Kevin is from the Mova area, am I correct? Yes, he's welcome, son of the soil of Mova. Welcome him home. He works in the office of the leader of the opposition. He's a very strong fighter for us with the work that he does in the parliament for us. So thank you, Kevin. So why did we come here? And then Kevin tells me very clearly, he said, Madam, there's not one area known as Mova and one thing known as Mova Laventille. So we had put anti-crime talks, Mova Laventille. He said, boss, there's 2 separate places. Is he correct? Yes. So welcome people from Mova and welcome people from Laventille. 2 months ago, I read a story in the newspapers. And that story convinced me that these talks needed to be held here for people of Mova and people of Laventille. And I must admit that the headlines highlight truly terrifying reality of how we live here in Mova, in Laventille, when it comes to murders.
All right, let's pause. Let's get an opportunity, of course, to deal with the lines. And let's hear what this caller has to say. President, good morning and welcome to the corridor.
President, good morning to you and your co-host.
Yes.
This morning, I just called to tell one thing. Check your audio. I don't think anybody hearing it.
All right, that's me, right? But you're hearing Kamala, right?
No,
are you hearing Kamala? Huh? Are you hearing Kamala?
No, I ain't hearing nothing on your live.
Wow. All right. Okay. All right. Thanks. People. Something is wrong. You're supposed to be hearing Kamala at least. But I'm going to try because I'm seeing it recorded here. And I have to trust the system. Let's see. We'll continue with Kamala.
What also convinced me to come here for these anti-crime talks? Laventille held the most important quarry in our country. Did you all know that? Well, many people don't know that. So I'm glad you know your own history. Laventille's famous blue limestone was used to erect, give yourselves a round of applause. Your blue limestone was there to erect many prominent buildings in the city of Port of Spain. That limestone was used in a major engineering project of the reclamation of the Port of Spain harbor. Did you know that? Well, take our next round of applause, take a bow. All came from Laventille. Up to 1942, Laventille limestone was used to construct, you know what? The famous Churchill-Roosevelt Highway, right from you here. The earth in Laventille, literally, I will say, has built our nation's capital and a major link road from north to south. Laventille used to be known as a free town. Did you know that? Do you know why? In the 1840s, after emancipation, many of the freed men and women who left the plantations, they found refuge here on the hillsides, and they were determined to chart a life of their own, which reflected their traditions and talents. And did you know, and I'm sure this one you know, because I can remember this, in the 1970s, the revolutionary Black Power movement was born out of these hills under the leadership of the late iconic McCandle Douglas. Give him Derry Debate McCandle. Give him a round of applause, please. Thanks to that movement, TNT became a more equal place for all citizens. So Laventille, you have one of the proudest, greatest legacies of patriotism and achievement to boast of. Your foreparents were pioneers. Our nation owes this great community a debt of gratitude, and you must always remember that. You are equal citizens under the law. Citizens who work hard, raise families, and pay their taxes to help ensure our nation's progress. And therefore, you are constitutionally entitled to an equal share of all our national resources. And the time has come, once and for all, for the government you have voted into office to serve you, the people of the Hill. As I close this segment, I want to just say to you, I ask you, having told you about those children who marched for peace 2 months ago, they filled me with hope and inspiration. I want to urge all of you here today to never let anyone destroy your sense of worth and dignity. To the young children in that peace walk in March, I urge you, please continue being beautiful. God sent beacons of hope, peace, justice, and progress to our communities and yours. Never let the violence and neglect around you make you turn to a life of crime and of hate. The future belongs to you, and you have the responsibility to seek to make your country a better nation in which we all can live. And now I open the floor to you. I want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. And we have note takers, and we'll have the video footage. So we look forward for your suggestions, your thoughts, and your ideas. Shall we give Twiggy the mic first? And she seemed to be the loudest one. Okay, come, Twiggy, go ahead. Thank you all.
I keep the strength and the grace of God with me every day.
Welcome to the podium, our beloved leader.
Well, people, of course, we have given you access of what transpired and the presentation, the brilliant presentation of Kamala Prasad, clearly well researched. But of course, I have said, and I believe it is worth reiterating, repeating now, she missed out one significant contribution of Laventille. We gave the nation its national culture, and calypso. If you listen to her entire presentation, that was left out. I don't know how that could have been, but I suppose it is probably because they want to leave a room because it was so compact and so to the point and so all embracing and so comprehensive that of course they probably wanted people like myself to of course engage in of course bringing up the rear, so to speak, by simply adding only one thing, that Lavatil gave the country its national culture, steel band and calypso. The steel band in particular. Okay, you could argue calypso, but certainly steel band cannot be, of course, questioned. Simon and Eddie Matt and all these guys, including, of course, the national awardee, deceased, about, of course, Bertie Marshall, as far as tuning is concerned, and of course, William Charles, the genius in terms of the creation of new types of pan and the variation of notes that the pan can bring out. It's a sophisticated instrument, playing, of course, with any orchestra across the globe. So, being as it may, people, of course, it is now, of course, of 6 minutes to the hour of 10 o'clock. Yesterday, so we are winding down, but only, of course, to comment, give a little comment, and I will ask Dr. Khalid, of course, to give his comment as to her presentation. I think overall she can get A plus for the research, for the presentation, for the information, except that little notch where, of course, the non indication, or should I say, focus on steel band in particular, steel pan in particular, which, of course, we have given the Trinidad and the Tobago and the world the only repercussion, or should I say percussion instrument, but has repercussion yet, but is the only percussion instrument discovered in the 21st century. That being, as Dr. Khalid, what are your views on the presentation of the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, the UNC leader, at that anti-crime initiative in Mova Lavatil at the Missiu Community Center?
Well, not only my view, the views of the people who were there, the participants, they were pleased. Everybody, now they still talk.
Yeah, people can't stop speaking about it. Yes, it was tremendous. The numbers, the presentations, very considered to be heart-wrenching, commentary and expressions.
That took place last Monday, but you would think it happened last night.
Yes.
Because people are still talking.
Yes.
As we speak, people are still talking, the guys in the area. This is why I said people have to start weighing what is happening and make the right political decision.
I noticed that the government has not commented on this one. They have commented on some in the past. But why do you think that is so, that they're so silent, they're so mum, they're so constrained?
Because they don't expect the leader of the opposition to come in to move
in the heartland.
In their heartland.
Yes.
And a full crowd.
Massive support.
People in the yard and people full of the hall. And most of the time they will talk about rent a crowd. And there was no evidence of no
that. No, they would, and they were looking, of course, for texture of hair differences in the audience too. But of course, it was Afro. It was, of course, green, yellow, and red, symbolizing, of course, Shati and the where those like Heinz.
Yeah.
We call him what do you call it? A Rasta. That's a favorite cause. Yeah, go ahead.
Anyhow, they were expecting a lot of people to be busting from around where and Sao area. Because UNC could do that if they want. And but if you look at that crowd, if you want to talk about, if it had 20 East Indian people there,
yes.
You understand my point?
Yes, indeed. All right, so I think we have come to the end. Of course, we will continue, of course, this discussion hardcore tonight on the corridor transformation. Those glitches that we experienced this morning, I hope that we can iron it out. Let me just hear from this caller before we. Pleasant good morning. Welcome to the corridor. Have we improved?
Again, yeah, really good on. I realized about a long delay.
What?
When I called there a while ago,
Yeah.
I realized I was 5 minutes. Yeah, that call I did 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I noticed that on the screen as well. So we have to see if we can deal with that between now and tonight. So you're quite right. You're quite right.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes. Well, people, of course, we are to the end, and of course, as usual, we will start as how we'll end as how we started, of course, and that is to say, what?
Don't care who from town. Sufferers only want to know where the next food coming from. That's one for all them racists. That's one for the racists. Anytime you bounce up a racist and you hear them running them out, it have a whole set of people.
Of course, for the, should I say the delays, but of course, we're going to try to rectify that for tonight's program. But I want to tell you thank you very much, of course, for your presence, and of course, for those of you who will be viewing it subsequently. I want to tell you that we continue here, of course, to do what we have to do, bring the information to you. And of course, along the East Corridor, where the PNM believe that they dominate and that it is a vote bank, without any commitment, dedication, or indeed believe that they can do mischief, misinformation, disinformation, incompetence, impotence, non-delivery, and believe that the people of the Eastern Corridor, from Digomatin in the west to Toko in the east, will absorb that and will be complacent in perpetuity. Well, they have another thing coming. Dr. Carroll, your closing remarks.
Yeah, well, thanks again, people, for listening. And we apologize for the problems we have, but as Lennox said, we correct that. And hopefully tonight and during the week and next Sunday, we'll have a better program. Lennox will probably have to repeat some of the things that we
we probably will get a copy of what transpired tonight. Tonight, well, transpired this morning. We have a copy of that for tonight, and then we can, of course, deal with excerpts for those who may not have been able to, of course, get it as clean as possible, right? And of course, we will deal with, of course, what I consider to be musical presentation, music and need to be, of course, repeated. And we will focus on that as well. We will focus on some of the presentations made by the community of Lavatil, the East-West Corridor in general. All right? So, see you tonight. God bless and have a wonderful rest of the day until we meet tonight. Bye-bye at 8 o'clock.
Visit the General Hospital. hospital. And I know that you would be shocked to see so much different race of people line up waiting on one dock or pay a visit to the AIDS ward where they find no cure as yet.